every single one of these cards was built with the same custom card, custom button card. If you ever tried to use button card and felt overwhelmed by the documentation, or you've been copying YAML from forums without really understanding what each line does, this video is for you. I built a complete dashboard and cheat sheet that covers every major button card feature with copy-paste examples for all of them. It's free, it's linked in the description, and by the end of the video you're going to understand every section of it. Let's go! Let's start. Here you can see the ultimate button card dashboard. It features examples for every major button card feature. In this video we will go through everything, and at the end you will hopefully understand how to use button card. For beginners, button card can be very overwhelming as it's only configurable in the YAML code. Hopefully, after this video, you will feel confident at using button card. Let's start at the very beginning. If you've never used button card before, here's what a minimal card looks like. 4 lines, that's it. You now have a button that shows your entity state and toggles when you tap it. But this is just a starting point. Let me walk you through what you can add. The first thing is the show buttons. These control what's visible on the card. By default, name and icon are shown. State and label are hidden. Flip them on and your card instantly becomes more informative. Next up, color type. This changes what gets colored based on the entity state. Most people use icon, but card is great for creating color tile dashboards. When you set color type card, button card automatically adjusts the text color for contrast. White text on dark backgrounds, dark text on light backgrounds. Then there's also 2 built-in templates, so to say. Color type blank to use as a spacer and label card, which you can see here. Both very useful if you need a quick fix. Button card also has built-in layouts, but we have icon name state, icon name state second, icon state and name state. You can set these under layout. They are good to get started, but later we will look at how to create your own layouts. Last thing for the basics, you can also set aspect ratios. The most common one being 1:1. But you can also set 2:1 and 3:4, as you can see here. Let's move on to the next section, actions. One of button card's biggest strengths is its action system. By default you get 3 separate interaction points, tap, hold and double tap, and each can do something different. So in this example, tap targets the light, hold opens the more info dialog, and double tap navigates to my lights view. 3 actions on a single card. But there's more. You can also add icon tap action to give your icon and your card different tap actions. Next up is the call service action. With this action we can trigger any HR service action with custom data. In this example we can turn the light to 100% or 20% with different service calls. To navigate your dashboard you can use the navigation action. This links to a different Lovelace view. And with the URL action you can open any website directly from within Home Assistant, like the Home Assistant documentation. However, this is not where it stops. Another option is to just run arbitrary JavaScript code, directly from the button card itself. But this is very useful if you want to do more complicated things that involve if clauses, for example. When we press this button, as you can see, the light toggles. Moving on to the show toast option. This is a bit more niche. This example allows you to show a toast at the bottom of the screen with an undo button. The multi-action option lets you combine all of these. It runs a sequence of actions, one after another with optional delays between them. This is a newer and extremely powerful for complex automation triggered by a single tap. If you only do service calls, you could replicate this with a script, but if you also want to change your view, for example, this is a great option. Then we have additional configurations for your actions, mainly confirmation and a pin. They do exactly what they sound like. The confirmation one asks you to confirm the action before it's executed, and the pin protection as you type in a pin before accessing the entity. Perfect for things like garage doors, alarm panels or anything you don't want accidentally triggered. Last but not least, we have one that is lesser known, press action and release action. They fire once a button is pressed and once a button is released. Set up like in this example, we get a button that is on as long as we hold it. Very useful if you only temporarily want to activate something. Up next is styles. This is where button card really separates itself from every other card. You have full CSS control over every single element. The time to make your card truly unique. The styles object has slots for each part of the card. Card, icon, name, state, label and grid. Let me break down the most useful CSS attributes you can use. For card styles, border radius rounds the corners, background color sets the background. You can use RGBA values for transparency. Box shadow adds depth, and padding gives you content breathing room. For icon styles, width controls the size, color sets the color. State label and name are pretty similar. You can set different font parameters like font size and font weight. The last one, grid, is the most powerful one. This is the layout engine. By default, ButtonCard uses CSS Grid to position the icon name, state and label. You can completely redesign the layout with grid template areas. Here are some examples. The first one has the icon on the left and the name and state on the right. The way it works is that you have each row in quotations and then a descriptor for the field. I for icon, N for name, S for state and L for label. Each descriptor in a row is a column. In this example we have 2 rows with 2 columns each. The first column fits the icon in both rows. The second column has the name in the first row and the state in the second row. With grid template columns, we can define how big the columns are. In this example, we set the icon column to 40 pixels and use 1FR, which in this case means the rest of the card, for name and state. I added a few different examples to this dashboard, so feel free to check them out individually. Next up is actually one of my favorite functions of ButtonCard, one that a lot of people miss: state-based styling. You can change any style based on entity state. When the light is on, the card glows warm, when it's off, it's grayed out. This makes the ButtonCard dashboards feel alive. Additionally to the state, you can also use operators for numeric sensors, like in this example. If I change the number here, we can see the effect. There's actually a bunch of available operators and I listed them here for you on the dashboard. Lastly, I want to show you one more operator, the template operator. This is the most powerful one, as it takes a JavaScript function and returns true or false to match stage. With this, basically anything is possible. This is actually the perfect transition to the next section, JavaScript templates. This is the feature that makes ButtonCard infinitely flexible. Almost every field in the card config supports JavaScript templates, wrapped in triple brackets. Inside those brackets, you have access to several variables. Entity, that's the current entity object. Use entity state for the state, entity attributes for attributes like brightness, temperature, etc. Then we have states. All entities in your Home Assistant instance. Access any entity with states, entity ID, .state. We can also access user, the currently logged in user, useful for conditional display or showing the user's name, for example. Variables are also accessible. These are your custom variables. We will talk more about these in the next section. Lastly, you have access to HAS objects. This is the full Home Assistant object. Access to services, call, actions, everything. On this page I have created some practical examples you actually use. I could probably do a whole video just on JavaScript templates, but let me just quickly show you a few examples. First up is adding some information to a card, like adding the brightness of a light to the name. One use case that I use a lot is a dynamic icon depending on the state of the entity. The same also works with dynamic color. Of course, the true power comes when you combine both of these. You can also use JavaScript templates to override the state display, like in this example, where I added icons to the different states. Down here we have an example on how to calculate the relative time on how long ago the entity last changed. Probably the most useful one is to cross-reference other entity states in your button card. You can see here we can reference the living room temperature and humidity sensor in the same card. Lastly, we can also use JavaScript templates for conditional visibility. We can do so by using the hidden attribute. Even though Home Assistant has this functionality built in, using JavaScript templates gives you way more flexibility and you can make some very advanced conditions. The key thing to understand is that these templates are reactive, which means they update automatically when the entity state changes. You don't need to refresh anything. Similarly powerful to JavaScript templates are variables, which is our next topic. Variables let you store values and reuse them across your card config. They are defined at the top of your card and accessed with variables.yourVariableName. In this example you can see I defined 3 variables: accent, inactive and icon size. We can use them in the card by returning them with some JavaScript like here. If we use the same variable multiple times, we only need to change it at the top if we want to make some adjustments. Variables can also contain JavaScript templates. You can see here in this example we calculate the brightness of the light entity. Variables are evaluated in alphabetical order, so a variable named A can be referenced in variable B, but not the other way around. Keep that in mind when changing variables together. However, the real power of variables is when you combine them with config templates, which is our next topic. You define default variables in your template, then override specific ones per card instance. One template, infinite variations. Button card configuration templates are a game changer. If you only learn one advanced feature, make it config templates. This is what separates a messy dashboard from a maintainable one. You define templates in your dashboard's raw YAML configuration under button card templates. An advanced tip is to configure base card template, so you can reuse configurations that all cards use from one single point. You can reference them in your other templates. I created 3 config templates: room card, sensor card, and nav button. When we go back to the dashboard, we can see them in action. Now, instead of having a bunch of code for each card, every room card in your entire dashboard is just 5 lines of code. If we delete the template here, we can see that the card goes back to the default state. That means all of the configuration is saved in the config template. Now here's where variables play a big role again. If we define variables in our config templates, we can override them per card. For the room card, we defined a variable for accent color. So now we can override it with different colors like in this example. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, custom fields. Custom fields are how to add extra elements to your card, beyond the standard icon, name, state and label. This is what turns a simple button into an informative, rich dashboard tile. The easiest way is to use JavaScript templates to add extra data elements like temperature and humidity. You can style the extra fields under Styles, Custom Fields and the name of the field, and you can also reference them by name in your grid template areas. One practical use case for this would be a notification badge, for example when your window is open, like on this card. Here we also combine it with JavaScript templates as well. This way you can basically extend your button cards indefinitely. Here's a quick example of a room tile with 4 additional sensors. What makes this insanely powerful is that your custom fields can even contain entire Lovelets cards. This can be another button card, basically button card inception, or entire other Lovelet cards, like a graph card. This lets you embed mini graphs, gauge, or any card inside your button card. Incredibly powerful for creating information-dense tiles or giving your card specific functionality. Static cards are boring for you? No problem, Button Card has you covered with built-in animation support, plus full CSS animation capabilities. Basically, every styles attribute can be animated, if you want to animate the icon, card, or just the name. You can start simple by just using built-in CSS animations like blink. For that, you have to define the name of the animation, how long it is, the easing function, and how long it should repeat. In this example, it is blink, 2 seconds, ease, and infinite. However, Button Card is not limited to this. You can also create your own custom animations. For that, you can define the keyframes for your custom animations under Extra Styles, and then call the animation with your custom name like before. This way you can create truly unique animations, as you can see in these examples. Animations can really bring your dashboard to the next level. This is the stuff that makes people stop and say, wait, that's Home Assistant? Last but not least, let me finish off with some pro examples. On this view, I just collected some starting points for you to create your own cards. A glass morphism card with the frosted glass effect, which Apple recently made quite famous again. A card that looks pressed in when active, using the light color from a light bulb via the button card light color variable. A person card that shows the entity picture and the state. A washing machine card based on the power consumption. A pin-protected alarm panel card. And a simple vacuum card. Treat these as real-world examples and try to use them as base to build your very own versions of it. That's it! I hope now you feel ready to take on your very own custom button cards. Every major feature with real examples you can copy and paste and make your own. There are also 2 free downloads for you. This dashboard code for you to use as a reference dashboard in your Home Assistant. Here's how it looks. You just copy it into a fresh dashboard and then you have to change these entities to your own entities. Done! Now you can always reference these examples directly from within Home Assistant. However, if you prefer your cheat sheet as a file, I created a YAML file that includes all these examples with explanations right in the file. Both files are linked in the description, and I hope you will find them useful. If you need any help with Button Card, feel free to join our Discord channel. And if you're currently building your own dashboard and if you want to see how I put all of this together from scratch, check out my live streams where I'm designing a completely new dashboard together with the community. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to my channel. I try to make dashboard content every week. Drop a comment telling me which feature of Button Card you didn't know yet. Check out my other videos if you want to see me create unique button cards from scratch. Until then, Thanks for watching.